That's right, it's the spooky, scary month of Halloween, also known as March. I can't see any better time to be playing Five Nights at Freddy's.
That's where I wanna be!
That's right, the game that's known for fun and quirky things like murdering 5 kids in a goddamn Chuck E. Cheese costume, and also giving Let's Players whiplash the moment they hear a single noise. But you know me, I'm what's known in the medical industry as clinically insane, so I'm gonna get rid of one of the 3 things that I can do in this entire game. Today, we are going to be seeing if it's possible to beat Five Nights at Freddy's 1 without using the lights at all. That's right, the thing that the wiki categorizes as a vital in-game mechanic. Great. Basically, the lights are used to tell if there's actually an animatronic at your door. There's a blind spot on the 2 cameras closest to your office, which means that you can't actually see if they're at your door unless you use the lights, and we're not going to. But anyways, I'll explain more as the video goes on, so let's head into night 1. Real quickly before I start night 1, I just want to explain the gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's for anybody who hasn't played it before. If you've played it before, or you've seen somebody else play it, then you probably don't need to watch this part, so you can skip to the timestamp on screen. Alright, so in this game, you play as a night guard for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Your task is to protect yourself from these killer animatronics from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., basically 8 minutes and 55 seconds in real time. The 4 animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, move towards your office in specific paths. Bonnie goes on the left side, Freddy and Chica go on the right side, and Foxy is kind of specific. Don't worry, I talk about these later in the video. You basically have 3 things to protect yourself. You have a camera system where you can watch all the animatronics to make sure you know where they are. You have doors which can protect you from being jump scared if an animatronic actually makes it to your office. And you have lights, which don't matter because we're not using them. You want to use these 3 things as sparingly as possible because they use power and you only have a specific amount of power. Once you run out, you're basically dead. Does that make sense? Pretty much just don't get bit by Chuck E. Cheese. The door protects you from Chuck E. Cheese. Don't let yourself run out of power because then you can't use the door. That's basically it. Let's go to night 1. Alright, basically night 1 is the tutorial level of this game, so it's really easy, so I don't have much to say about it. So I thought now would probably be the best time to explain how this game actually works. I pretty much have no idea what I'm actually talking about, so if you're really interested in how this actually works, I'd recommend watching Tech Rules' video about this exact same thing. To start off the night, every single animatronic gets a certain difficulty number. This is the same system that gets used during the custom night mode. For every night, I'm going to be showing the animatronic's difficulty during the intro cards. So you probably know this already, but the max difficulty an animatronic can have is 20. Throughout the night, there's certain times where an animatronic gets the chance to move, and this is where your difficulty number comes in. Basically, whenever there's a chance for an animatronic to move, the game will randomly generate a number between 1 and 20. The game then compares your randomly generated number to your difficulty number. If your difficulty number is greater than or equal to the randomly generated number, then the animatronic will move. This is what makes the 420 difficulty so hard, because every single time there's a chance for an animatronic to move, your number will always be greater than or equal to 20 because the max setting is 20. For example, during night 2, Bonnie's difficulty is set to 3, which means that every single time there's a chance for him to move, a random number gets generated, and if that number is something like the number 2, 3 is greater than the number 2, which means he's gonna move. But if the number is something like 17, 3 is not greater than 17, which means he's gonna stay where he is. This system kinda only works for Bonnie and Chica. Freddy and Foxy work a little bit differently, but I'm gonna talk about those in a bit. That's pretty much as basic as I can explain it, so if you didn't understand, good luck, because we're actually moving on to the night. If you saw in the intro card, the animatronic's difficulty actually changed throughout the night. So to begin this night, every single animatronic has a 0 difficulty, meaning from 12 to 2 a.m., they literally cannot move. Once it hits 2 a.m., Bonnie's difficulty is going to go up to a 1, and everybody else will stay at a 0. So he's the only one that can move, but it's really rare for him to actually move, especially at 2 a.m. When it hits 3 a.m., we actually have to start paying attention. Bonnie's difficulty is going to go up to a 3, Chica's is going to go up to 1, and Foxy's is going to go up to 1. An attack from Foxy is really rare during this night, so we don't have to worry about him as much as Bonnie. At 4 AM, the AI difficulty changes for the final time during this night. Bonnie stays at a 3, and Chica and Foxy go up by 1. Like I said earlier, Foxy and Chica don't really matter during this night. They don't have a high enough AI level to do anything, and they also get engaged way too late in the night for them to actually move anywhere close to me. So all we have to do is check the left hallway for Bonnie on the off chance that he actually gets close enough to kill us, and obviously that doesn't happen, and we're done with night 1. Night 2 is where this challenge gets slightly serious. It's also where Phone Guy says this.
I also want to emphasize the importance of using your door lights.
I don't think you understand what we're doing here, Mr. Phone Man. During the beginning of this night, so at 12 AM, every single animatronic other than Freddy can already move. This is also the night where we're going to be talking about Foxy. His rules work a little bit different from everybody else's, and since this is basically the Foxy tutorial night, it's probably the best chance I have to talk about him. Foxy does use the same system of movement as Bonnie and Chica, with the random numbers comparing them to the difficulty number. Although he doesn't actually move, he just changes his stages. There's stage 1 where the curtains are closed, stage 2 where he's peeking his head out, stage 3 where he's pretty much all the way out of the curtains, and then stage 4 is where he's actually attacking. So whenever he has a successful movement chance, he just progresses to a later phase until he actually attacks. Although if you're on the camera, he will fail every single movement chance, regardless of what random number it is and regardless of what difficulty you have him set to, he will always fail. Once you've closed your camera, there's a random amount of time between 0.83 seconds and 16.67 seconds where he won't be able to move. But after that, he goes back to normal. Like I said, once he's reached phase 4, he's gonna attack, and he can either attack after you check the West Hall camera or after 25 seconds have passed. If you block his attack with the door, for the first attack, he's gonna draw 1 power, for the second attack, he's gonna draw 6, and for third and beyond, he's gonna draw 11. Now you might be thinking to yourself, okay, that's cool, but how does this relate to no lights? This is because I'm using my cameras way more. In a regular playthrough, you don't even have to check the cameras for Bonnie and Chica. All you have to do is use the lights, and since we can't, we have to constantly know where they are so we can close the door at the right time so that we don't use too much power and we also don't die. Which means not only are we spending more power checking Bonnie and Chica, but we're also spending less time checking Foxy, which can either get us killed or waste more power. I have more complaining to do about these animatronics, but I'm going to do that later because I've already been talking for a really long time. Just on night 2, because we had bad RNG, we used almost all of our power on night 2. I didn't have to implement any fancy strategies for night 2, I just had to make sure I knew where every single animatronic was at all times. And other than that, it's just a lot of luck, waiting, and hoping that we don't use too much power, and we get it done. Alright, so originally for night 3, I was going to start talking about Freddy and how his AI actually works. Although I didn't think it was actually cool enough to talk about fully, it's basically just a combination of all movement styles. He follows the same path as Chica, and he'll actually move from camera to camera, but if you're looking at the camera he's on, then he won't actually move and he'll be paused. There's a lot of other specific things that he does that are completely different from anything else, but I really don't want to talk about them, so I'm not going to. Since this is the night that the challenges actually get hard, I'm going to talk about my specific strategies for this challenge. This challenge and the strategy I used is heavily reliant on the camera system. I wanted to make sure I was spending enough time looking at both Freddy and Foxy, and I was also looking at both of my hallways to see if Bonnie and Chica were going to attack. Freddy and Foxy are obviously a danger, but since I'm always in the cameras, we don't have to worry about them as much in these earlier nights. The real problem is Bonnie and Chica. The first one I want to talk about is Chica, because specifically on this night, for some reason, she was absolutely relentless. When she's on the show stage, dining area, and restroom camera, she doesn't pose much of a threat. When she goes into the kitchen, the camera's disabled, but you can tell that she's in there because it plays this noise. This noise can be heard even with the camera down, so that was a great way of tracking her. When she's in the east hallway, it doesn't really matter, we just need to know that she's there. The problem becomes once she gets to the corner. Once she's in the corner, we want to listen for this sound effect. When that sound effect plays, that means an animatronic has moved, so I always want to check that camera, and if she's not there, she's either at my door or she's backed up back into the east hallway. And since I'm not using my lights, there's no way to tell if she's actually at my door, and there's also no change in sound effect between at my door and back in the hallway, so I always have to check where she actually moved. If she is at the door and I block her with the door, then she'll either retreat back into the hallway or go all the way back to the dining area. For this night and any nights going forward, this was the strategy that I used to keep track of Chica. The next one I want to talk about is Bonnie. When Bonnie's at the show stage, backstage, or dining area camera, we again don't have to worry about him. The problem again becomes once he reaches the west hallway camera. Once he reaches the west hallway camera, he can either move up to the corner and then he can move to my door, or he can move into the supply closet. The supply closet would seem like it would be a really good thing because he's not in the hallway to come attack me, but he can actually jump directly from the supply closet to my door. Not even in the corner, he can jump directly from the supply closet to his attack instantly. This is why the sound effects are so important. Again, I'm going to be listening for this sound. If I hear that sound effect, I check all three of those cameras unless I knew where he was before. If he was in the corner or if he was in the supply closet, once that noise plays, he's most likely at my door. If Bonnie gets blocked by the door, unlike Chica, he won't go back into the hallway, he'll go directly to the dining area every time. Using that strategy to keep those two from killing us works perfectly because, like I said, we spend a lot of time in the camera, which means Freddy and Foxy have a less chance to actually kill us. So overall, Night 3 is not horrible, but trust me, it gets, like, way worse. Alright, Night 4 is just where everything goes horribly wrong. Every single animatronic is extremely aggressive, and now our biggest problem is our power. This is for two reasons. Reason number one is because I'm pretty much always using the cameras, which means I'm constantly using 2 bars of power, which means that I'm draining about 18% power per hour. If I'm using the cameras while one door is closed, that means I'm using 3 bars, which is about 27%. And if I have both doors closed while checking the cameras, that's 36% per hour. So you can see why power is such an important thing in this run. And of course, reason number 2, they just don't leave my door. Like I said during Night 1, if we just get really bad RNG, then an animatronic might not move. Since the position at my door counts as an actual moving position, if they just fail their movement attempts for a really long time, then they just stay at my door and drain my power forever. I had a moment like this happen during Night 2. Chica stayed at my door for over 3 minutes straight, meaning she failed over 36 different movement attempts. Here's some slowed down footage of a Night 4 attempt. I was on 5 AM and I had 15% left, so I was doing really good. I heard a footstep noise and I instantly checked the supply closet to see if Bonnie moved. He was still there, but Chica had moved back into the hallway. After this, I closed my camera, but you can see how fast this happens. Right when I open back up my camera, a footstep noise plays. After I heard this noise, I checked 3 of the cameras that Bonnie could be at. Once I figured out that he wasn't there, I closed my camera and I was instantly jump scared. Here's how fast this whole thing was in real time. Okay, you're there. Where is Bonnie? You're in the closet. Bonnie's back. No. No, man! This challenge is just about knowing where every single animatronic is at all times. One final thing I want to talk about is what I did at the end of this night. Towards the end of the level, I saw that it was 5 AM, but I realized that I had such little power. So what I ended up doing was I ended up stalling. I didn't touch any cameras, no doors, no nothing, because that meant nothing could jump scare me unless Foxy started running at me. So I basically just want to hope Foxy doesn't kill me, and then we get a power outage. Once your power goes out, there's 3 different stages of timers that happens. And also, any animatronic movement is completely canceled once we have a power outage. Stage number 1 is where Freddy is not at your door. Every 5 seconds, there's a 20% chance for him to appear, up to a max of 20 seconds. Once he does appear, we enter stage 2, which has the same timer as stage 1. Every 5 seconds, there's a 20% chance that he continues to play his music, and this can go on for a max of 20 seconds. Once you're done with stage 2, the lights are going to turn off, and now you're in stage 3. Stage 3 has a different timer from the first 2 stages. Every 2 seconds, there's a 20% chance that you continue in this stage up until you die. We had enough time before the power outage that the clock turned over to 6 AM right as Freddy went into stage 2. And we're done with night 4, time to go to the final night. During night 5, everything's bad. There is no animatronic that is easy to deal with during this night. All of them move a ton, and they all have their own chances to get us killed. This night was so bad that pretty much every single attempt I had would end up in a power outage, which meant it was all up to RNG. Every single thing I've talked about in this video, we used during this night, and I'm basically just gonna do like a play-by-play and talk about what happened during this night. This night took multiple hours to actually complete, and that's mainly because the first time I beat it, there was no video. Bro, please, bro, please! Yes! Yes! Let's go! Come on, man! Let's go! Let's go! He didn't even show up. Wait. No. It wasn't capturing the game. No! Yep. So guess what? I got to do it all over again. Yay!
What you doing there, Bill? Satellite dish trouble?
No, I'm just up here to kill myself.
To start off the night, I usually just sit there and do nothing because I know it's going to take them a long time to actually get to my office. The problem isn't Chica or Bonnie because they have to get all the way over to my office. The problem is Foxy and Freddy. My goal is to check Freddy and Foxy as much as possible, but do it in the least amount of time as possible. So I do this kind of flick thing where I go between both cameras and make sure I'm checking both of them. After a while, I see that Bonnie's already at my door, which means his next movement, he's gonna attack me. So I go right over to the door button to make sure if he does move, I can hit the door button immediately. During this night, I got really lucky because Bonnie stayed at my door for about 2 minutes without attacking. So I just kept switching between the Foxy and Freddy camera to make sure they didn't move. Later, I heard some footsteps and it was actually Bonnie moving, so I checked all 3 of those cameras to make sure he wasn't doing anything stupid, and he wasn't, which meant he was at my door. After this, I kind of had a mini heart attack because I couldn't find anyone, so I just kept closing doors. I want to talk about this part specifically because it shows the difficulty of this challenge. I know that both Chica and Bonnie are at my door, so any footstep could mean that both of them or just one of them are at my door. So when I hear footsteps, it could be either of them moving. In this case, it was just Chica. So I keep that door down, but I keep my mouse on the left side of my screen. After this, I hear another set of footsteps, which could either be Bonnie at my door or Chica leaving. This time it was Chica leaving the door. This meant that I could lift up Chica's door, but then I heard more footsteps, which meant I had to close Bonnie's door to make sure he didn't move, but he just actually moved into the supply closet. And then a while after this, I got attacked by Foxy. So yeah, it's extremely, extremely hectic. Once it gets later in the night, I need to make sure I'm not looking at my camera as often. As you can see, it's almost 4 a.m. and I'm only around 30%. This is why it was so important to keep Freddy on the show stage, because if he was successful with all his movements, it would still take a really long time for him to actually get to our office. The rest of this night was pretty much just protecting myself from Bonnie and Chica. It hit 5 a.m. when I was around 10%, and then once I got down to 5, I decided to just not touch anything. I was trying to run the clock as long as possible, and I knew Foxy was still in stage 1, so nothing else could kill me other than Bonnie and Chica, and since I'm not lifting up my camera, I can't technically die. And of course, we got a power outage. We need a long song here, baby. Yes! Ah! Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love Freddy. Just an absolute beautiful bear. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. But if you know anything about this game, that's not the end. That's nowhere near the end. Alright, if you thought the last night was bad, I don't even know. Bonnie's max difficulty goes up by 5 compared to night 5. Chica's max difficulty also goes up by 5, and Foxy and Freddy's goes up by 1. So, night 6 is almost 2 times as difficult as night 5, and we ran out of power on night 5, so this night sucks. Just to show how stupid this night actually is, look at this clip. Bonnie shows up on the 1B camera, and then a few seconds later, I die to him. Right here, Bonnie's already in a position where a single movement and he's already able to kill me. The footstep noise just played, which meant I should have closed that door, but since I heard Freddy's laugh, I didn't think that they would have been perfectly in sync because they're almost never. So I just assumed that it was Freddy and I made the wrong choice. Well, I was about to use it, bro. He didn't make a noise. Yeah, this night sucks. If you want even more proof, just look at this. Keep in mind that this is all from one single attempt. Bro, am I gonna be able to see the cameras? Like, alright, I'm having a great time. Can I, like, ever see the cameras? Bro, I can't see the cameras. Ah! So yeah, my cameras got disabled 6 different times in one night. Basically, this is just to switch what picture you're actually seeing, so it doesn't abruptly switch to a camera and there's an animatronic there. So whenever an animatronic moves to your camera like that, it's gonna do that from time to time, but it's not usually this frequent. And all of that stupid camera business all led up to this happening. So yeah, this whole night is just completely stupid. I'd talk more about my strategy, but it didn't change from night 5. I still have the same strategy. It's just I have to be absolutely perfect in every single way. And even if I was perfect, it still has the chance to be absolutely ruined by Freddy RNG. So what do we do now? Now it's just time to try until finally you get an attempt that actually works. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the single most stressful 40 seconds of my entire life. Freddy, I will literally, like, give you so many high fives, my guy. Like, I don't even care. Like, I will... Bro. Bro, please. Please, bro. Please. 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 Just please, bro. Fuck. 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 Oh! Ah! Let's go! Let's go! No way! Freddy, I love you, bro! Bro, I literally love you, fam. Oh my god! Let's go! Ugh. And there we go. Before any nerds say anything about 420 difficulty, it's barely even possible with lights, so it's obviously going to be impossible without. But to answer the question, can you beat FNAF 1 without using the lights? The answer is yes. I had a great time making this video, both playing the game and doing the research and editing for this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it as well. If you have any other challenges that you want to see me do, maybe another FNAF challenge, or maybe a different game completely, let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.